Last year we ran a boat test that turned out to be quite a surprise. At least it was for me. On the face of it, the Arcona 435 is a modest looking cruiser racer with a traditional Swedish interior. It all seemed pretty straightforward, but when we dug a little deeper and went for a sail, she proved to be far more than just the sum of her parts. Say that in the presence of anyone who knows the Arcona range and they'll just smile, because for them it's an open secret. So perhaps it's no surprise that recent gossip has been getting the Arcona devotees pretty excited. Gossip that starts with the news that one of the best known names in the cruiser racing scene is now at the heart of Arcona's latest news. But more of that later. First, the reason that we're here. Arcona have announced a brand new design, and from what we're hearing, it's pretty special. So, to find out more, we're going to hook up with the head man in Sweden, Arcona's CEO Urban Lagnéus, to find out a bit more. So Urban, good to see you. First of all, set the scene for us. Tell us where you are.
I am at the yard in Uddevalla where Arcona build their large boats. It's just 1 hour from Gothenburg, so it's 1 hour ride from the airport to come here, and you're out in the nature and the beautiful sailing archipelago. It's a yard we started to cooperate with like 7 years ago and to build the large Arconas. So we build boats over 40 feet here, because we know that they are very high skill and Swedish craftsmanship here in this area, and we want to have that in the boats. We can produce like 22 boats in the yard but we try now to get even more area so we can build more boats.
Tell us a bit about the boat that's behind you, Urban.
I'm standing in front of an Arcona 435. That was the boat that was Boat of the Year 2019, but this is the first Mark II. So it's upgraded with some new features and some details, which is possible to read about on our homepage.
Fascinating stuff, really interesting to see the yard and what you're up to there. But of course, what we really want to know is the big news.
We're going to build the next boat in Uddevalla, and here we do the largest boat. So the next one will be a new step up to 50 feet. So it's an Arcona 50. It will be our new flagship, and with our new cooperation with Mr. Jeppesen, who have a company together with Jeppesen and Pons, will help us with the design, and it's a fantastic cooperation for us.
Well, she's a beautiful looking boat, that's for sure. But tell us a bit about the concept.
We want to go one step further in size, and also give our customers an opportunity to have a boat which is more for offshore racing, more for long distance sailing also. So it's an upgrade in convenience and sailing in long distance sailing.
Was it inevitable that you were going to move up to a 50-footer, or has it taken quite a while to sort of come to that conclusion and decide that that's the size you need to get to?
It's take a while to take that decision actually, because it's a huge step for us. But I think it's today necessary to have something in this size to offer to our former buyers and to new clients that we hope to find from maybe Niels Jeppesen's background. He knows a lot of sailors who also want to have a larger boat. So in this cooperation, it was quite obviously that we were ready to invest in a larger model. It is a new designer, so it's a step change. And with this size, we do believe that people are more for offshore sailing than sailing in the archipelago in Sweden, which will be possible with the boat, for sure. We will have a shallow draft and 3 different drafts on the keel, so it will be possible to use in all areas in Europe, even if you want to go in island cruising like we do a lot of in Sweden. But we also have customers who want to stretch out and do longer sailings. So in that perspective, this boat is more for offshore sailing, yes.
We've seen in the racing scene that short-handed sailing has become really very popular and increasingly popular over the years. And of course in blue water cruising, short-handed sailing is often the way that people sail anyway. But this is a big boat, it's a 50-footer. Is she set up for short-handed sailing?
Yes, the whole idea is a typical Arcona idea. It should be easy to handle, easy to sail. So it's the same thing with this boat. You should be able to run it with 2 persons on board, absolutely.
So tell us a bit about the time frame. When can we expect to see the Arcona 50 on the water?
Our time frame on the 50 is to start build it here in Uddevalla in September, and hopefully we will be out sailing with it ourselves in January, February. And we hope to build 2 boats to deliver before midsummer next year. So it will be in the water spring next year.
Now you mentioned earlier on Niels Jeppesen. Now many people will know him from another yard, not that far away from you. Tell us about his involvement in this new design.
Yeah, let's say like this, for me it's very exciting because I worked 18 years for Christoph Rassi, which is maybe the famous boat builder in Sweden, and now to work and cooperate with Niels, who is a famous Danish boat builder. It's a fantastic opportunity. Niels also understands performance, which is important for Arcona. So his background is really performance and cruising together, which we also want to achieve. So he's a perfect match for us. We talk the same language about boats. Swedish and Danish, you know, we don't understand each other so very well, but in both words we understand each other very well.
Thanks very much indeed. It's fascinating stuff. She's a beautiful looking boat. Can't wait to see her on the water. Thanks very much for talking us through, and good luck.
Thank you, and you're most welcome whenever you want to the yard. Everybody's welcome here.
So now we know a brand new 50-footer's on its way, the new flagship for the Arcona range. Well, I'm delighted to say that the 2 people who are responsible for doing that design are with us today, Niels Jeppesen and Ariadna Pons. Welcome, thank you very much for joining us. Now, Urban talked about this boat being not just an evolution of an existing range, but he described it as being quite a step change.
The hull design is a little bit different to the present Arcona range, but that's mainly because this is a 50-footer. So this is not mainly targeted for sailing around in Scandinavia. It's mainly targeted for the international market.
One of the things that I noticed just stepping out from the boat a bit more is that I think I'm right in saying this is the first Arcona with twin rudders.
So when you have these very powerful sterns are good for giving hull stability, and it's also very good for giving interior volume and space on deck. But when you heel more than 15 degrees, you lose too much control on the steering when you have the rudder where you have to have it far forward. So we saw these 2 rudders came 15 years ago on the Whitbread Around the World boats and the Vendée Globe boats, and with these hull shapes you have nowadays, which are very similar to these powerful race boats, we simply need to adopt that technology.
When it comes to the accommodation layout, it looks fairly straightforward.
Yeah, so what we are trying to do here is to optimize what we offer in the interior, because we are designing the interiors to be as light as possible. So the design and manufacture, it goes hand by hand. So what we are trying to do here is giving all the items that can be lighter to make it as light as possible. That means, for example, the main bulkheads and the bulkheads are composite, and also the interiors, the front faces of the interiors are also cord. That means it's lighter, and for the same aesthetics of the design, you are going to have a lighter boat, so more performance on the overall project.
We've talked quite a lot about performance, that P word has come up time and time again in the way you've described the boat. And yet this is a blue water cruising boat, isn't it? That was the primary intention.
Some people said to me, if you really enjoy sailing, why do it fast? Because you're on the water longer if you go slow. But it's about the sailing pleasure, and the pleasure comes from being on board a boat which sails nicely. And it is, as you know, nothing new. The lighter we can build the hull and deck, and Arcona have decided to go carbon, partial carbon, and not only hull and deck but also the structure. We are very careful when you choose all the equipment. We look at the weights when we choose fridges or we choose generators. No matter what it is, we always keep an eye on the weight. And the weight saving, we will go to save about 800-900 kilo in the interior. Some of it will be saved in displacement, and some of it will go down in the lead keel. So it's a win-win situation. So we will have a better performance in all wind conditions.
So while the Arcona 435 may have come as a surprise to me on that boat test last year, to hear Urban and Niels introduce their new flagship by starting with a performance was perhaps only to be expected. The Arcona 50 certainly looks to be an exciting new model. The new collaboration is also a fascinating one. Combining Urban Lagnéus' long experience in producing high-quality blue water cruisers with Niels Jeppesen's impressive track record in performance is surely a potent mix. This, along with a high quality of build and a sharp focus on both the weight and the detail throughout, are among their self-proclaimed goals for a design that sets out to be as capable on the racecourse as she is comfortable sailing short-handed on passage. You can find out more about the detail above and below decks, along with the thinking that lies behind it, by heading to their website.